David's auto repair shop was a monument to struggle, a dusty, forgotten corner of the city where rusty wrenches and broken dreams collected in equal measure. He barely scraped by, his days filled with the relentless grind of leaky transmissions and frayed hopes. But one sweltering afternoon, a small girl with a handful of chalks approached his grime-streaked garage wall, asking a question that would ignite an unexpected chain of events. He said yes, expecting crude drawings, unaware that this simple act of kindness was about to transform his life, attracting not just curious onlookers, but a nationally renowned artist, and shattering the walls of his desolate world forever. Before we carry on, please hit the subscribe button to make my day, and let me know where you are watching from in the comments. David's auto repair was less a business and more a stubborn declaration against obsolescence. Tucked away on a forgotten side street, just beyond the vibrant pulse of downtown, it was a relic of a bygone era. The sign, faded and leaning precariously, bore the chipped paint of years of neglect, its letters barely legible against the relentless sun. The garage itself was a cacophony of organized chaos. Oil stains spiderwebbed across the concrete floor, tools lay scattered like metallic bones, and the air hung heavy with the pungent aroma of grease, gasoline, and weary hope. David, at 38, embodied the shop's struggling spirit. His hands, perpetually stained with oil, were strong and calloused, testaments to a life spent wrestling with stubborn engines. His face, usually set in a grim line of concentration, was etched with the subtle worry lines of a man barely keeping his head above water. His worn overalls, perpetually covered in dust and grime, mirrored the general air of polite decline that clung to his establishment. He was a good mechanic, truly, with an almost intuitive understanding of combustion engines and a meticulous approach to diagnostics. Cars that had stumped others often hummed back to life under his patient touch. Yet, the world had moved on. Flashier chain shops with their gleaming lobbies and aggressive marketing campaigns had siphoned away his clientele. Most days were quiet, punctuated only by the occasional sputter of a truly ancient vehicle or the desperate plea of a cash-strapped student. The silence, when it fell, was often heavier than the clang of a dropped wrench, amplifying the gnawing worry about rent, about bills, about the ever-dwindling pile of savings. David lived in the small, cramped apartment above the garage, a solitary existence marked by the rhythmic hum of distant city traffic and the occasional mournful cry of a passing train. His only companion, a scruffy stray cat he had reluctantly adopted and named Sparky for its unpredictable bursts of energy, often curled up on a dusty armchair, a silent witness to David's quiet struggles. He loved cars, deeply and unconditionally. They were complex puzzles, mechanical marvels that, when understood and treated with respect, offered a profound sense of satisfaction. His garage, for all its grime and disarray, was his sanctuary, a place where he could lose himself in the intricate dance of gears and pistons. But it was also a place of crushing solitude, a testament to a dream slowly fading under the weight of financial strain. The front wall of the garage, facing the street, was a vast, blank canvas of faded, peeling paint. It had once been a vibrant advertisement for the shop, but now it was merely a backdrop, a stark, uninviting expanse that mirrored David's own sense of dwindling visibility in the bustling city. It represented the forgotten nature of his little corner of the world, a silent, gray testament to faded aspirations. The sweltering afternoon sun beat down, baking the asphalt to a shimmering mirage. David, hunched over the engine of a sputtering 1970s pickup truck, wiped a bead of sweat from his brow with the back of his greasy hand. The air conditioning in the old garage had given up the ghost years ago, a luxury he couldn't afford to fix. A faint jingling sound caught his attention, pulling him away from the stubborn carburetor. Standing hesitantly at the edge of his open garage door, framed by the blinding glare of the afternoon sun, was a small figure. It was a girl, no older than 7 or 8. Her bright floral dress, a startling splash of color against the grimy backdrop of the street. She clutched a handful of vibrant chalks, their powdery tips peeking out from her small fist. Her eyes, wide and curious, darted around the cluttered garage, taking in the grease stains, the hanging tools, and the looming hulk of the broken-down pickup. David, startled by her unexpected presence, straightened slowly, his wrench still in hand. He rarely saw children on this street. It wasn't a neighborhood known for families or parks. He wondered if she was lost. "Can I help you, little one?" David asked, his voice gruffer than he intended, a consequence of disuse more than ill temper. He tried to soften it, adding a tired smile. The girl took a tentative step forward, her gaze fixed on the expansive, blank sidewall of his garage, the peeling, faded paint, a stark contrast to her vibrant chalks. "Mister," she began, her voice soft but clear, "your wall is very, very blank." David blinked, genuinely surprised. "Well, yes it is. Needs a new coat of paint, I suppose." He shrugged, a shrug that conveyed years of deferred maintenance and financial limitations. She gestured with her chalks, her eyes lighting up with an earnest appeal. Can I draw on it? Just a little bit? With my chalks?" Her eyes were wide, filled with an innocent hope that tugged at something deep within David. He hesitated. The wall was already unsightly, a canvas of neglect. What harm could a few chalk drawings do? He imagined stick figures, perhaps a crude house or a lopsided flower. It might even add a touch of unexpected cheer to his otherwise bleak corner of the world. Besides, the girl looked earnest, almost desperate in her artistic plea. He hadn't seen such genuine enthusiasm in a long time. "Chalk, huh?" David mused, a faint, almost forgotten smile touching his lips. He wiped his hands on a rag. "It'll wash off when it rains, you know." The girl nodded vigorously, her eyes sparkling. "Oh, yes, I know, but it'll be beautiful while it's here." David looked at the vast, desolate expanse of the wall, then back at the hopeful little face. His life was so devoid of simple joys, of unexpected splashes of color. What was the worst that could happen? He imagined a splash of innocent vibrancy against the drabness, a fleeting moment of beauty before the next rain. "All right, little artist," David said, a genuine smile finally breaking through the weariness. "You can draw on the wall. But no permanent markers, okay? Just chalks." He gestured expansively at the wall. "Knock yourself out." The girl's face lit up, a radiant burst of pure joy that momentarily eclipsed the oppressive heat. "Oh, thank you, mister. Thank you, thank you." She practically bounced with excitement, already turning towards the wall, her small hand meticulously selecting a vivid blue chalk from her collection. David watched her for a moment, a strange warmth spreading through him. He expected a child's clumsy scrawl, perhaps a rudimentary animal or a misshapen sun. He returned to his sputtering pickup, the faint rhythmic scraping of chalk on stucco now, a quiet, unexpected counterpoint to the clang of his tools. He assumed she'd draw for a few minutes, get bored, and disappear back into the quiet street. He had no idea that this seemingly insignificant encounter, this simple act of kindness, was about to set in motion a chain of events that would not only transform his dilapidated garage into a landmark, but would also irrevocably alter the course of his solitary, struggling life. The girl, with her handful of chalks, was unknowingly painting a future far more vibrant than anything David could have ever imagined. The rhythmic scrape of chalk against the stucco wall, initially a faint background noise, gradually transformed into a quiet, almost meditative rhythm. David, immersed in the stubborn mechanics of the pickup, occasionally glanced over his shoulder. He expected to see a few tentative lines, perhaps a rudimentary landscape or a collection of childish doodles. Instead, he saw a mesmerizing display of unexpected focus. The little girl, her floral dress a splash of color against the drab wall, was utterly absorbed. She moved with a surprising grace, her small body swaying slightly as she worked, her hand moving with a confident fluidity that seemed far beyond her years. She wasn't drawing simple stick figures. She was meticulously outlining complex shapes, layering colors with a surprising depth. What had begun as a blue outline quickly evolved into the intricate wing of a bird, then the feathery detail of its plumage. She shifted between chalks, her fingers stained with vibrant hues, blending them with an almost professional touch. David found himself staring, captivated, forgetting the greasy engine before him. The girl, lost in her artistic world, seemed unaware of his gaze. She hummed softly to herself, a sweet, tuneless melody that drifted through the open garage. Hours passed. The sun began its slow descent, casting long, golden shadows across the street. The air, though still warm, lost its oppressive edge. The wall, once a desolate expanse of faded gray, was slowly blossoming under the girl's diligent hand. What was emerging was not a simple drawing, but a vibrant, fantastical tableau. Lush green foliage, intertwined with exotic, luminous flowers. Birds with impossibly bright plumage soared through skies of swirling lavender and rose. Tiny, whimsical creatures, half hidden among the leaves, seemed to peek out at the viewer. It was a world of pure imagination, rendered with a surprising sophistication of color and form. The scale was impressive, too. The mural, still unfinished, already covered a significant portion of the lower half of the wall, hinting at a grander vision. David, utterly spellbound, finally put down his wrench. He walked over to the wall, standing a respectful distance from the absorbed artist. The sheer talent, the innate artistic understanding displayed by a child so young, was frankly astounding. He saw techniques he recognized from art documentaries, a sense of composition and perspective that spoke of an inherent, powerful gift. He felt a peculiar mix of awe and humility. The girl, finally pulling back to assess her work, noticed him standing there. She looked up, her eyes wide and bright, a smear of red chalk across her cheek. "It's not finished yet, mister," she announced, her voice a little tired but still brimming with enthusiasm. It's incredible," David murmured, genuinely awestruck. He ran a hand over the rough stucco, almost afraid to touch the delicate chalk masterpiece. "It's truly beautiful. What's your name, little artist?" "Lily," she replied, beaming. "My mommy says I get lost in my art sometimes." "I can see that, Lily," David said, a genuine, unburdened laugh escaping him. "This is better than anything I could have imagined. Are you going to finish it tomorrow?" He found himself hoping she would, hoping for another splash of unexpected beauty in his drab routine. "If it doesn't rain tonight," Lily said, her face clouding slightly as she looked up at the clear sky. "Chalk doesn't like rain." "No, it doesn't," David agreed, a pang of regret in his chest. This fleeting masterpiece would vanish with the first drop of water. "Well, I hope it stays sunny for you." As the last rays of sun dipped below the horizon, a sleek, dark sedan pulled up to the curb. It was a luxury car, meticulously clean, utterly out of place on David's dusty street. The back door opened, and a woman stepped out. She was tall, elegant, with an air of quiet sophistication, her long, dark hair pulled back in a neat bun. Her clothes were simple but impeccably tailored, and she carried a slim portfolio under her arm. Her eyes, a striking shade of emerald green, swept over the dilapidated garage, then landed on Lily, who was now gathering her chalks. "Lily, darling, there you are," the woman called out, her voice soft but authoritative. She glanced at the chalk-covered wall, a flicker of surprise in her elegant features, then her gaze sharpened, lingering on the vibrant, complex imagery. A slow, knowing smile began to spread across her face. Lily rushed to her mother, pulling on her hand. "Mommy, look, I painted the man's wall. He let me." The woman approached, her emerald eyes now fixed on the evolving mural, her expression shifting from curiosity to profound interest, then to a quiet, almost reverent awe. She ran a gloved finger along the delicate line of a chalk-feathered wing, her head tilted, assessing the colors, the composition, the undeniable talent. David, feeling suddenly self-conscious in his oil-stained overalls, stepped forward. "Evening, ma'am," he said, trying to wipe some grease from his hands. "Your daughter, Lily. She asked if she could, decorate my wall. She's quite talented, isn't she?" He gestured awkwardly at the masterpiece. The woman slowly turned, her gaze meeting David's. Her emerald eyes held a depth that unnerved him, a quiet intensity that seemed to see beyond his grimy exterior. "Talented?" she repeated, a soft, rich laugh escaping her. "Yes, mister. David Thorne." he offered. David, she said, testing the name, a gentle warmth entering her voice. My name is Eleanor Vance. And yes, Lily is indeed talented. She gets it from her father, mostly. Eleanor's smile widened, a knowing, almost mischievous glint in her eyes. He was a muralist, a nationally known muralist actually. And looking at this, David, it seems my daughter has inherited his gift, and quite profoundly so. David froze. The nationally known muralist. The words hung in the air, transforming the innocent chalk drawing on his wall into something far more significant. The quiet, unassuming girl with her handful of chalks was the daughter of an acclaimed artist. And her mother, Eleanor Vance, carried herself with an air of quiet distinction that now made perfect sense. The mundane had just collided with the extraordinary, and David's world, on the brink of fading into oblivion, was about to be painted with colors he never knew existed. The revelation hung in the humid evening air, momentarily suspending David in a state of stunned disbelief. Eleanor Vance, a name that resonated with an unfamiliar but potent significance, stood before him, her eyes, the color of deep emeralds, observing him with a curious intensity. The child, Lily, oblivious to the quiet ripple of revelation, excitedly recounted her artistic endeavors, pointing at various vibrant details on the chalk mural. A nationally known muralist? David finally managed, his voice a bewildered whisper. He looked from Eleanor to the mural, then back again, the pieces of the puzzle clicking into place with a surprising, almost dizzying clarity. The sophistication of the composition, the layering of colors, the sheer confidence of the strokes. All made sense now. This wasn't just a child's whimsical drawing, it was the nascent blossoming of a profound artistic lineage. Eleanor chuckled, a soft melodic sound that carried a hint of wistfulness. Yes, his name was Arthur Vance. He believed that art should be accessible, that it should transform everyday spaces into something beautiful and thought-provoking. He was known for his large-scale public murals, often in unexpected urban locations, bringing color and narrative to forgotten corners of cities. Her gaze drifted to the chalk masterpiece, her expression softening with a mixture of pride and nostalgia. Lily, it seems, takes after him more than she lets on. She usually prefers drawing in her sketchbook, but a blank wall? That's a true canvas to an artist. David felt a flush creep up his neck, a sudden wave of self-consciousness. He was a mechanic, covered in grease, standing before a woman of obvious refinement and artistic heritage. His dusty garage, a monument to his struggles, suddenly felt glaringly inadequate. He wondered if he had somehow overstepped by allowing Lily to draw on his wall, an act of kindness that now seemed to carry an unexpected weight of artistic pedigree. Well, it's truly remarkable, ma'am, David mumbled, gesturing awkwardly at the chalk art. I wasn't expecting anything like this. I thought she'd just, doodle. Eleanor's gaze met his, and he detected a flicker of amusement in her eyes, a gentle understanding that disarmed him. No, David, Lily doesn't just doodle, she creates. And it seems your wall has inspired her. A blank canvas, after all, is a powerful invitation to an artist, and your willingness to let her create, without judgment, is a rare gift. Her voice held a genuine warmth, a sincerity that settled some of David's unease. Lily, meanwhile, had begun to express concern. Mommy, what if it rains tonight? Then it will all be gone. Her voice trembled with a child's fear of fleeting beauty. Eleanor knelt, hugging her daughter. It's okay, darling. Art is sometimes fleeting, like a beautiful sunset. But the memory of creating it, and the joy it brings, that stays forever. She looked up at David, a thoughtful expression on her face. Though, it would be a shame for such a lovely piece to simply vanish with the next shower. A daring thought, audacious and wholly uncharacteristic, sparked in David's mind. He was a man of logic, of practical mechanics, not artistic whims. But looking at the mural, at its vibrant beauty transforming his drab wall, and seeing the genuine artistry in Lily, he felt an inexplicable urge to preserve it, to make it permanent. The idea was absurd. He had no money for paint, let alone to commission an artist. But Eleanor Vance was an artist, and this was her daughter's work. "Ma'am," David began, his voice a little bolder than he expected. What if we made it permanent? Not with chalk, of course, but with paint." He gestured vaguely at the wall. "I mean, if Lily wanted to, and if you could help. I don't have much, but I could. I could try to help with materials. Or labor. I'm good with my hands." He felt foolish, even as the words left his mouth, a struggling mechanic presuming to ask for the talents of a renowned artist. Eleanor's eyebrows rose in surprise, a faint smile playing on her lips. She considered his offer for a long moment, her eyes moving from the chalk mural to David's earnest, grease-stained face. She saw not a desperate plea for free labor, but a genuine appreciation for art, a surprising flash of idealism in a man who clearly dealt with harsh realities. She saw the profound impact Lily's art had already had on him, the way it had broken through his weariness. "You're offering to turn this into a permanent mural?" Eleanor asked, her voice soft with intrigue. "Based on Lily's design?" "Yes, ma'am," David confirmed, his heart thumping in his chest. "If you thought it was possible. And if Lily wanted to see her work stay." Eleanor knelt again, gently tracing the outline of the chalkboard with her finger. Lily looked up at her, wide-eyed with hope. Eleanor looked from the mural to her daughter's eager face, then back to David, standing there, a silent, hopeful plea in his eyes. She saw the potential, not just for a beautiful piece of public art, but for something more. Her husband, Arthur, had always believed in the transformative power of art, not just for the viewer, but for the spaces and the people it touched. This humble garage, this struggling mechanic, presented an unexpected opportunity to honor that legacy. "It's a wonderful idea, David," Eleanor finally said, her voice warm with conviction. "A truly wonderful idea. Lily's design is captivating, full of life, and I believe it would be a beautiful tribute to Arthur's philosophy, bringing art to an unexpected place." She stood, her gaze meeting his, a newfound determination in her emerald eyes. "I'll need to prepare the wall properly, of course. Clean it, prime it, and we'll need proper mural paints, which can be expensive." She paused, her eyes sparkling with a subtle challenge. "But if you're serious about this, David, I can certainly help. This won't be just a simple painting. This will be a collaboration." David's jaw dropped. A collaboration with a nationally known muralist. His dilapidated garage, on the brink of closure, was about to become the canvas for an unexpected artistic awakening, a beacon of color and creativity in a forgotten corner of the city. He had no idea the scope of the generosity that Eleanor Vance was truly offering, or the profound changes it would bring to his quiet, struggling life. The little girl with her chalks had unknowingly opened a door to a future he never dared to dream of. The days that followed were a whirlwind of unaccustomed activity around David's auto repair. Eleanor Vance, true to her word, arrived early the next morning, not in her sleek sedan, but in a robust, utilitarian van packed with artistic supplies. She was dressed in practical work clothes, her elegant demeanor tempered by a focused professionalism. Lily, chalks in hand, bounced with uncontainable excitement, her bright floral dress a stark contrast to the griminess of the garage. Eleanor, with a quiet authority, began to direct operations. David, initially hesitant and unsure how to assist a nationally renowned artist, quickly found himself drawn into her methodical efficiency. She wasn't aloof or demanding. She was a natural leader, her instructions clear, her movements precise. She had him power washing the entire front wall, stripping away decades of grime and peeling paint. The roar of the pressure washer, an unfamiliar sound in the usually quiet street, drew curious glances from passing motorists and the few neighbors who lived nearby. "The preparation is paramount, David," Eleanor explained, meticulously inspecting the new clean stucco. "A mural isn't just about the paint, it's about the foundation. If the canvas isn't right, the art won't endure." Her words, simple yet profound, resonated with David. It was the same philosophy he applied to car repair. A solid foundation was essential for lasting performance. He understood that. Then came the priming. Eleanor had brought industrial-grade primers, special formulations designed to create a flawless, durable surface for outdoor murals. David helped her roll the thick white primer onto the vast expanse of the wall, transforming the drab gray into a pristine, welcoming canvas. The process was physically demanding, but as he worked alongside Eleanor, a comfortable rhythm developed between them. They spoke little, their communication flowing through shared purpose, through the quiet understanding of two people dedicated to a craft. Lily, meanwhile, was a constant, joyous presence. She would flit around the perimeter of the prepared wall, offering unsolicited advice, pointing out details from her chalk drawing that she wanted to see translated into paint. Eleanor would listen patiently, sometimes incorporating Lily's suggestions, sometimes gently explaining the limitations of the medium. It was a beautiful collaboration, a visible passing of the artistic torch from mother to daughter, framed by the quiet presence of the hard-working mechanic. As the days turned into a week, the first strokes of actual paint began to appear. Eleanor, using Lily's chalk drawing as a meticulously followed blueprint, began to lay down the base layers. She worked with astonishing speed and precision, her hand moving with a fluid confidence that mesmerized David. He watched, utterly captivated, as the vibrant colors of Lily's imagination began to leap from the wall, transforming the once blank space into a breathtaking panorama. Lush greens formed dense, tropical foliage, interspersed with bursts of electric blues and fiery oranges for exotic flowers. The whimsical creatures, the vibrant birds, all began to take on a lifelike quality, their painted forms shimmering with an ethereal glow. Eleanor would mix her paints on large palettes, her understanding of color theory and pigment blending a profound skill that David found endlessly fascinating. She explained her techniques, her approach to light and shadow, her philosophy of creating art that engaged the viewer, that told a story. David, usually a man of few words, found himself asking questions, genuinely absorbed in the artistic process, his world expanding with every brushstroke. He learned about artistic composition, about the play of light, about the profound impact of color on emotion. Word of the unfolding mural began to spread. Initially, it was just the curious neighbors, peering over fences, their faces alight with surprise and admiration. Then, cars began to slow down, their occupants craning their necks, pointing at the blossoming masterpiece. Soon, people were parking, getting out, taking photos, their murmurs of appreciation filling the air. The faded, forgotten street corner was slowly but surely becoming a magnet for unexpected attention. A few local news reporters, alerted by tips from the now buzzing community, began to show up. They interviewed David, initially confused by his unassuming demeanor, then captivated by the story of the little girl, the blank wall, and the unexpected collaboration with a renowned artist. David, awkward in front of the camera, spoke simply, earnestly, about Lily's talent and Eleanor's generosity. Eleanor, graceful and articulate, explained the project's inspiration, her late husband's legacy, and the belief that art should surprise and delight in unexpected places. She always made sure to credit Lily as the primary designer, emphasizing the purity of the child's vision. The story went viral. Social media exploded with images of the evolving mural, its vibrant colors and whimsical charm captivating online audiences. People drove from neighboring towns, then from across the state, just to witness the transformation, to stand before the garage wall and lose themselves in Lily's fantastical world. They left little notes of encouragement, dropped off small gifts for Lily, and even brought David coffee and sandwiches, a heartwarming display of community engagement he had never experienced. David's auto repair, once struggling for customers, now had a steady stream of onlookers, potential clients drawn in by the unexpected landmark. Some would even pull over, asking about the repairs, drawn in by the unexpected warmth and creativity now radiating from the previously desolate garage. The phone, once eerily silent, began to ring with increasing frequency. He even had to put up a "Do Not Disturb" sign while working, a problem he never dreamed he'd have. As the mural neared completion, its vibrant colors shimmering under the desert sun, David looked at the transformed wall. It was a masterpiece, breathtaking in its beauty, a beacon of imagination. But more than that, it was a symbol of unexpected connection, of the profound power of art to bridge worlds, to transform not just a blank wall, but a man's life. The wrench girl had become an artist's muse, and his failing garage was about to become a landmark, a vibrant testament to the unexpected magic born from a child's simple request and a mechanic's quiet kindness. The final phase, however, would bring an even more profound level of recognition, and, with it, a new set of challenges and opportunities. The final days of the mural's creation were a convergence of fervent artistic activity and escalating public fascination. Eleanor and Lily, now a synchronized duo, worked tirelessly. Eleanor, with her long-handled brushes, added intricate details to the soaring birds and the mystical creatures that seemed to come alive on the stucco. Lily, perched on a small stool, meticulously painted the tiny, almost imperceptible details of dewdrops on leaves and the shimmering scales of hidden fish in a fantastical stream. Their silent communication, a dance of shared artistic vision, was mesmerizing to watch. David, having now truly shed his initial awkwardness, actively assisted them, mixing paints, cleaning brushes, and ensuring their comfort. He found a strange joy in the rhythm of their work, in the vibrant transformation of his world. He had even learned to identify different shades of ochre and viridium, a surprising expansion of his practical mechanical vocabulary. The smell of fresh paint, initially alien, now felt comforting, a scent of new beginnings. The completed mural was nothing short of breathtaking. It depicted a lush, fantastical forest, teeming with life, luminous butterflies with iridescent wings, wise-eyed owls perched on ancient branches, and a hidden waterfall cascading into a crystal-clear pond where mythical fish swam. The colors were vibrant, almost otherworldly, yet grounded in a naturalistic beauty that drew the viewer in. It was a world of wonder, an escape from the mundane, painted onto the unassuming wall of a mechanic's garage. It radiated an undeniable energy, a profound joy that seemed to emanate directly from Lily's innocent imagination, amplified by Eleanor's masterful execution. The unveiling, though informal, drew an unprecedented crowd. Cars lined the street for blocks, people spilled onto the sidewalks, their faces upturned, murmuring in awe and admiration. Local news crews, now a constant presence, broadcasted live, capturing the gasps and cheers of the onlookers. Even passers-by on the main road, usually oblivious to his side street, slowed down, craning their necks to catch a glimpse of the burgeoning landmark. "This," Eleanor announced, standing beside Lily, her hand resting proudly on her daughter's shoulder, "is a testament to the power of art to transform. It began with a child's simple wish on a blank wall and grew into something truly magical. It is a collaboration, a shared vision, and a reminder that beauty can be found in the most unexpected places." She gestured to Lily, who beamed shyly at the applause. Then, she turned to David, a profound warmth in her emerald eyes. And it would not have been possible without David, whose generosity and open heart allowed this masterpiece to come to life. David, unaccustomed to such public praise, flushed a deep red, offering an embarrassed wave. He was still the mechanic, still covered in the faint scent of oil. But now, he was also the guardian of a landmark, the unlikely partner in a public art sensation. The media frenzy intensified. Major news networks picked up the story, fascinated by the heartwarming narrative of the struggling mechanic, the child prodigy, and the renowned muralist. Art critics, initially dismissive of a garage mural, visited and were stunned by its quality, praising its vibrant originality and Lily's raw talent. They heralded it as a new wave of accessible, community-driven public art. The attention translated directly into a surge of business for David's auto repair. People from all over the city, and even from out of state, came to see the mural, and while they were there, they noticed David's meticulous attention to detail, his honest approach to repairs. His appointment book, once sparsely populated, was now booked weeks in advance. The phone rang constantly. He even had to hire a part-time assistant, a young, enthusiastic apprentice, eager to learn the trade, a sign of his burgeoning success. The financial worry that had gnawed at him for years finally began to recede. replaced by a cautious optimism. More importantly, the mural became a local landmark. Tour buses, filled with art enthusiasts and curious tourists, began to include David's mural on their itineraries. Schools brought children for field trips, inspiring them with Lily's story. The once-forgotten side street buzzed with activity, coffee carts and makeshift souvenir stands popping up around his garage, creating a vibrant, unexpected community hub. Then came the sponsors. Representatives from art foundations, civic organizations, and even major paint companies approached Eleanor and David, eager to support the project, to fund similar initiatives, to be associated with Croc. Its heartwarming success. They offered grants for maintenance, proposals for additional murals in other neglected parts of the city, and even inquiries about licensing Lily's designs. Eleanor, ever the astute artist and businesswoman, navigated these offers with grace and skill, ensuring that Lily's vision remained central and that the community would benefit. She always made sure David was consulted, treating him as an equal partner in the project. One afternoon, as the last of the crowds dispersed, leaving behind a quiet reverence around the now iconic mural, Eleanor approached David, a thoughtful expression on her face. Lily was playing nearby, drawing with fresh chalks on a newly cleaned section of the sidewalk, creating smaller, fleeting masterpieces. "David," Eleanor began, her voice soft, "this mural, it's done more than just beautify your wall. It's brought life back to this street and to your business, and I believe, to you as well." Her emerald eyes held a gentle understanding, seeing beyond the mechanic to the man who had found unexpected joy in a child's simple request. David looked at the mural, then at Eleanor, her face framed by the soft glow of the setting sun. He remembered the blank, desolate wall, the gnawing worry, the profound solitude. Now, his garage was a beacon of color, his business thriving, and his life, once so quiet, was filled with unexpected connections. He saw the potential, not just for his business, but for his own personal growth. He also recognized the subtle, yet undeniable, connection that had formed between him and Eleanor, a shared purpose forged in heart and unexpected generosity. "It has, Eleanor," David admitted, his voice rough with emotion. "More than you know. This whole thing has been like a dream." He paused, looking at the vibrant mural, then back at her. "Thank you. For everything." Eleanor smiled, a genuine, warm expression that radiated kindness. "Thank you, David. For the wall. For the trust. For letting Lily paint her dreams into reality." She glanced at Lily, then back at David, a subtle, unspoken question lingering in her gaze. The mural was complete, its impact undeniable. But the collaboration, the connection forged between them, felt like it was only just beginning. The Wrench Girl's magic, it seemed, had transformed not just a wall, but a life, opening doors to a future far richer and more vibrant than David could have ever imagined. The story of the mural was complete. But the story of David and Eleanor, and the blossoming legacy of Lily's art, was just beginning to unfold. The success of the mural, a vibrant heart beating on the side of David's humble garage, began to ripple outward in unforeseen ways. It wasn't just about increased business for David's auto repair, though that was a profound and welcome change. It was about the way the mural had transformed the street itself. What was once a forgotten thoroughfare now bustled with a quiet energy. Other small businesses, inspired by the wall, unlikely success, started to pop up. A quaint coffee shop opened across the street, its aroma mingling pleasantly with the faint scent of oil from David's garage. A small, independent bookstore, its windows showcasing colorful titles, replaced a long, vacant storefront a few doors down. The once desolate block, touched by the unexpected magic of art, was slowly but surely undergoing a quiet revitalization. David found himself in the accidental pillar of this burgeoning community. His garage a focal point, a symbol of what creativity and unexpected kindness could achieve. His relationship with Eleanor and Lily deepened in the weeks that followed. Lily, emboldened by the mural's success and by David's unwavering encouragement, continued to draw, not just on the sidewalk with chalk, but in sketchbooks David thoughtfully provided. He often found her perched on a crate inside his garage, quietly sketching. Her presence, a comforting addition to his once solitary workspace. He discovered her quiet observations of the world around her, her innocent interpretations of the mundane, and the burgeoning imagination that fueled her art. He was no longer just the mechanic who let her draw on his wall. He was a silent mentor, a supportive presence in her burgeoning artistic journey. He learned to appreciate the subtle nuances of her chalk lines, the way she captured movement and emotion with surprising depth for a child. Eleanor, too, became a more frequent presence. She would stop by, ostensibly to check on the mural's condition or discuss potential future projects. But often their conversations would drift beyond art and business. They would talk about the subtle shifts in the neighborhood, the unexpected connections the mural had fostered, and even their personal philosophies on life, work, and finding purpose. David found himself opening up to her in ways he hadn't with anyone in years. He shared his struggles, the almost lost dream of his garage, the gnawing anxiety that had been his constant companion. Eleanor listened with a quiet empathy, her emerald eyes reflecting a genuine understanding. She spoke of the challenges of public art, the initial skepticism, and the profound satisfaction of seeing it transform communities. Their bond, initially forged in an unexpected artistic collaboration, was slowly evolving into something deeper, built on mutual respect and shared values. The attention on the mural, far from waning, continued to intensify, attracting the notice of larger institutions. A prominent art gallery in the city, known for its focus on contemporary public art, reached out to Eleanor. They proposed a special exhibition, not just to showcase Lily's work, but to tell the inspiring story of the mural's creation. The exhibition would feature photographs of the mural's development, Lily's original chalk sketches, and interviews with, Eleanor, David, and even some of the local residents who had witnessed its transformative power. Eleanor, ever mindful of Lily's well-being and the integrity of the project, carefully vetted the gallery's proposal. She ensured that Lily's artistic autonomy would be respected, that the focus would remain on the collaborative spirit of the project, and that David's role would be prominently acknowledged. She included David in every meeting, every discussion, ensuring he felt a valued and equal partner in the unfolding narrative. He, in turn, learned about the intricacies of the art world, the delicate balance between creative integrity and commercial viability, and the immense power of storytelling to elevate a simple project into a phenomenon. The exhibition opened to critical acclaim. Art critics praised Lily's innate talent and Eleanor's masterful execution. The story of the mural resonated with a wider audience, captivating hearts with its tale of unexpected beauty and community revival. People flocked to the gallery, curious to see the behind-the-scenes process of the now famous garage mural. Lily, surprisingly, poised for her age, charmed interviewers with her innocent explanations of her artistic process, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. During the opening night, surrounded by the vibrant energy of the gallery, David felt a profound sense of pride, not just for Lily and Eleanor, but for the unexpected journey his life had taken. He stood among art collectors and critics, a mechanic in his best, slightly less oil-stained, clothes, a testament to the unpredictable turns of fate. He even fielded questions from enthusiastic patrons, finding himself eloquently explaining the technical challenges of preparing a garage wall for a mural, a conversation far removed from carburetor diagnostics. The success of the exhibition further cemented the mural's status as a landmark and opened doors to even grander opportunities. Major corporate sponsors, eager to align themselves with a heartwarming story of community empowerment and artistic innovation, approached Eleanor with lucrative proposals. They offered funding for the mural's ongoing maintenance, proposals for citywide beautification projects inspired by Lily's designs, and even a scholarship fund in Lily's name to support young, aspiring artists from underserved communities. Eleanor, with her customary grace and sharp business acumen, carefully negotiated these partnerships, ensuring that the spirit of the project remained intact and that the benefits flowed back to the community. into aspiring artists. One of the most significant proposals came from a national foundation dedicated to urban renewal through art. They wanted to replicate the David's Mural success story in other forgotten urban spaces across the country. They envisioned a network of public art projects, each initiated by local communities, guided by artists, and inspired by the transformative power of the garage mural. They offered Eleanor a leadership role in this ambitious initiative, a position that would allow her to scale her late husband's vision on a national level. This was a momentous opportunity for Eleanor, a chance to truly honor Arthur's legacy and make a profound impact on urban landscapes nationwide. It would, however, require extensive travel, demanding her time and focus, and potentially reshaping her life in significant ways. She discussed the offer at length with David, valuing his perspective, his grounding in the practical realities of community impact. "And this is huge, Eleanor," David said, his voice tinged with both excitement and a subtle apprehension. "It's what Arthur would have wanted, isn't it? To take art to places that need it most." He saw the spark in her eyes, the undeniable passion for this larger mission. Eleanor nodded, her gaze distant, already envisioning the possibilities. "It is, David. It truly is. But it also means a lot of time away. A lot of new challenges." She looked at him, her emerald eyes searching his. The quiet life they had built around the mural, the comfortable rhythm of their conversations, would undoubtedly change. David, sensing the unspoken question, the subtle hint of her own trepidation, offered a reassuring smile. "You have to do it, Eleanor. This is your calling. And Lily, she'll thrive with this kind of inspiration. In this place," he gestured around his bustling garage, "at the vibrant mural. This will always be here." A reminder of where it all began. He felt a pang of wistfulness, a quiet recognition of the impending shift in their dynamic. But it was tempered by a profound sense of pride for her, and for the incredible legacy they had, unknowingly, built together. The national initiative, christened Art Transforms, launched with immense fanfare, propelled by the enduring popularity of the David's Mural story. Eleanor Vance became its artistic director, a visionary leader who guided artists and communities across the nation in replicating the magic that had bloomed on David's garage wall. Her schedule became a whirlwind of travel, meetings, and public engagements, transforming her from a renowned muralist into a national figure in the public art movement. Lily, accompanying her mother on some of these journeys, became a young ambassador for the project, her innocent charm and burgeoning artistic talent inspiring countless children and communities. David remained at Nellis, the steadfast anchor of the original landmark. His auto repair shop continued to thrive, a direct beneficiary of the mural's fame. He expanded his business, hiring more skilled mechanics, investing in new equipment, and even transforming a portion of his garage into a small, clean waiting area with a dedicated display showcasing the mural's history, Lily's early sketches, and photographs of Eleanor and himself. He hosted visiting artists, gave impromptu tours to curious tourists, and shared the story of the mural with anyone who would listen, always emphasizing the unexpected kindness that had started it all. His life, once marked by quiet solitude and financial struggle, was now filled with purpose and unexpected connections. He became a respected figure in the local community, known not just for his mechanical skills, but for his quiet generosity and his unlikely role in a national art phenomenon. He even found himself offering advice to other struggling small business owners, sharing insights on how to foster community engagement and embrace unexpected opportunities. Despite Eleanor's demanding schedule, their connection remained strong, nourished by regular phone calls and occasional, cherished visits. Eleanor would return to Nellis whenever her schedule allowed, often for the annual Mural Day celebrations that had become a local tradition, drawing crowds from all over. These visits were a precious respite for both of them, a chance to reconnect, to share stories, and to walk around the mural, reminiscing about its humble beginnings. Years passed. Lily blossomed into a remarkable young woman, her artistic talent maturing into a distinctive style that seamlessly blended whimsy with profound insight. She enrolled in a prestigious art academy, her passion for public art unwavering, inspired by her mother's work and the foundational experience of the garage mural. Her childhood chalk masterpiece remained on David's wall, meticulously maintained by a dedicated team funded by the Art Transforms Initiative, a vibrant testament to her early genius and the spark that had ignited a national movement. David's Auto Repair, once teetering on the brink of closure, was now a thriving multi-bee operation, a respected institution in the revitalized neighborhood. He had achieved the financial stability he had once only dreamed of, but more importantly, he had found a profound sense of fulfillment. He was no longer just a mechanic. He was a community builder, a patron of the arts, and an unlikely custodian of a living legacy. One crisp autumn afternoon, many years after the mural's completion, Eleanor returned to Nellis. Her hair now held threads of silver, her face etched with the subtle lines of wisdom and experience, but her emerald eyes still sparkled with the same keen intelligence. She found David exactly where she expected him to be, hunched over the engine of a vintage car, his hands, though still capable, now showing the fainter marks of age. David straightened, his face lighting up as he saw her. "Eleanor! It's been too long." He wiped his hands on a rag, a familiar gesture that brought a nostalgic smile to her lips. They walked over to the mural, now weathered by time but still vibrant, its colors softly muted by years of sun and rain. The community around it thrived, a testament to its enduring impact. "It's still magnificent," Eleanor murmured, her gaze tracing the familiar lines of Lily's early work. "A beacon, still. It always will be," David agreed, his voice soft with reverence. "It changed everything, Eleanor. For me, for this street, for so many others, thanks to your work with Art Transforms." Eleanor turned to him, her eyes holding a deep warmth. "It began here, David. With you, your generosity, your willingness to let a little girl paint her dreams on your wall." She paused, then took a deep breath. "Lily graduates next spring. She's already been offered commissions for major public art projects. She's truly found her voice." A mother's pride swelled in her tone. "That's wonderful news, Eleanor," David said, genuinely happy for Lily. She was always destined for greatness. Eleanor's gaze lingered on him, a subtle shift in her expression. "David," she began, her voice softer, a hint of vulnerability in her tone. "The Art Transforms initiative is stable now. My work is entering a new phase, a more advisory role. I'll have more time. And Lily, as she says, forging her own path." She paused, a gentle smile playing on her lips. "This place, this mural, it's always felt like a second home to us. A beginning." David's heart quickened. He understood the unspoken words, the quiet invitation in her eyes. The journey had been long, unexpected, filled with twists and turns. From a struggling mechanic to the unlikely custodian of a landmark, from solitary existence to a life enriched by profound connections. The mural had not only transformed his garage, but it had painted a new trajectory for his life, weaving him into a tapestry of art, community, and an unexpected, enduring bond. He looked at the mural, then at Eleanor, her eyes shining with warmth and anticipation. The blank wall had been filled with color, the quiet life had been filled with purpose, and now, the unspoken possibilities of a shared future stretched before them, as vibrant and hopeful as the masterpiece that had started it all. He smiled, the genuine, unburdened smile that reached his eyes, mirroring the quiet hope in hers. "It always will be, Eleanor," he repeated, his voice firm, resolute. A beginning. The story of the mural was complete, its legacy assured, but the story of David, Eleanor, and the enduring power of art to connect and transform was just finding its most beautiful, harmonious ending. The years that followed saw the full blossoming of the unexpected connections that the mural had initiated. David's Auto Repair, now a recognized landmark, became a place not just for car repairs, but for impromptu community gatherings, small art workshops for local children, and a focal point for the revitalized neighborhood. David, comfortable in his dual role as a master mechanic and an accidental patron of the arts, found a profound joy in his daily life. He dedicated a portion of his expanded business profits to supporting local art initiatives, quietly funding small projects, and providing resources for aspiring artists in the community. His hands, still stained with grease, now also held the metaphorical brush of community impact, painting a better future for his corner of the city. Eleanor, embracing her new advisory role with Art Transforms, dedicated more time to her own artistic pursuits and, more significantly, to her life beyond the demanding travel schedule. She purchased a small studio space near David's garage, a sunlit haven where she could paint, sculpt, and reflect. Her presence in the neighborhood became a source of quiet strength and artistic inspiration, further solidifying the artistic identity of the once forgotten street. She often joined David for coffee at the new shop across the street, their conversations evolving from the strategic planning of murals to the simpler, more personal rhythms of shared lives. They spoke of the changing seasons, the quiet joys of daily life, and the subtle shifts in Lily's burgeoning career. Lily, a celebrated young artist, continued to make waves in the art world. Her public murals, often drawing inspiration from the organic whimsy of her first piece on David's wall, began to grace cityscapes across the globe. She became a sought-after speaker, advocating for the transformative power of art in urban environments. Despite her international acclaim, she never forgot her roots. Her visits to Nellis were frequent, cherished moments where she would return to the garage, sit beside her old chalk mural, and chat with David about her latest projects, seeking his quiet, grounded advice. She saw him not just as the mechanic who gave her a wall, but as a fundamental part of her artistic origin story, a silent, unwavering source of support. The bond between David and Eleanor deepened into a quiet, profound companionship. Their shared appreciation for art, their parallel journeys of unexpected transformation, and their innate understanding of each other's quiet strengths formed the bedrock of their connection. They found solace in each other's presence, a comfortable rhythm that spoke of years of shared history and a blossoming future. There was no grand declaration, no sudden, dramatic shift. Instead, their relationship evolved organically, a quiet understanding growing into a warm, undeniable affection that permeated their daily lives. They would walk together around the neighborhood, admiring the new businesses, the flourishing community, and the timeless beauty of the mural that had started it all. One particularly warm evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, golden shadows over the mural, David and Eleanor sat on a bench outside his garage, watching the last of the day's visitors depart. The air was filled with the gentle hum of twilight, the distant sounds of the city, and the lingering scent of blooming jasmine from a newly planted community garden nearby. "Remember how this wall looked?" David mused, his gaze fixed on the vibrant mural, its colors softened by the fading light. "Just blank. Faded. Like everything else on this street." Eleanor smiled, a wistful, knowing expression. "And, like you, David, a blank canvas, waiting for a little color." Her eyes met his, filled with a gentle warmth. David chuckled, a deep, genuine sound. "I suppose so. Who knew a bit of chalk could change everything?" He looked at her, truly seeing her, the wisdom in her eyes, the kindness in her smile. The journey from a solitary, struggling mechanic to this moment, sitting beside Eleanor, watching the community they had helped to build flourish around them, felt nothing short of miraculous. "It wasn't just the chalk, David," Eleanor said softly, her hand gently resting on his. "It was the heart behind it, your generosity, your willingness to see possibility where others saw only neglect. That's what truly brought the color. That's what made it a landmark. That's what transformed this place, and perhaps a USS. Too." David looked down at their intertwined hands, his calloused mechanic's hand resting comfortably against her softer, artist's hand. The symbolism was not lost on him. Two different worlds, brought together by a child's innocent request and the undeniable power of art. He looked up, meeting her gaze, his heart full. The future, once a source of quiet dread, now felt expansive, full of promise. The garage mural, a testament to unexpected beauty, continued to draw visitors, inspire artists, and symbolize the profound changes it had brought to David's life and the community around him. It was a story of transformation, of unlikely connections, and of the enduring magic that can bloom from the simplest acts of kindness. And for David and Eleanor, their shared journey, painted with the vibrant hues of art and affection, was a masterpiece in its own right, continually evolving, forever bright.